Let's get back to webcams. Hey there guys, Captain Morgan here with another unboxing review video for you. I just want to remind everybody that I stream on Twitch every Monday, Friday, and Saturday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. As of right now, the current playlist is Modern Mondays for Modern Warfare, Fall Guy Fridays, some Among Us as well, and on Saturdays we do Flight Sim Saturdays. So if you want to come by, hang out in the chat, play some games with us, or even ask me some questions about your streams, that'll be all right. Also, if you like what you see here, there's an Amazon affiliate link down in the description. If you want to grab one of these, use the link. You get a great camera out of the deal and you support the channel. And now with all that out of the way, let's get this video underway. So we did a video earlier on a camera that I think gave the Brio a run for its money, at least in the 1080p 60 frame per second department. The link is in the description of that video. There's also going to be a card up here that'll take you over to that review. You should go check it out. I still stand by that statement. Now, if you're looking to do more with your webcam besides just streaming or your occasional work call, like you want to dabble into content creation, start opening the door to 4K, you're going to have to start shelling out a little bit more cash. I picked up recently a Brio, and I gotta say, I found my new webcam at a higher cost. So in my quest to improve my stream, I am looking at the key foundations and the kind of the concrete roots that you need to have in place before you start focusing on the more creative things. So the things that you're going to need are really good audio, optimized gameplay for your viewers on Twitch or whatever platform you're streaming to, and really good video. So in the beginning, I really focused on the audio and how to set up my USB microphone and get all the compressors, all the limiters, expanders, gain, all the filters out of the way to really get a pretty good sounding microphone. Then I worked on my optimization of my game, so that way no drop frames in the game, no drop frames in the stream. Everything's looking copacetic, everything's looking pretty. So after those two things are taken care of, I was ready to start improving my video and giving my viewers the best that I could give them on my budget. So when you think of webcams for streaming, really webcams in general, there's really one name that is synonymous with being well known, and that's Logitech. Logitech is by far the most widely used brand of webcams used by streamers. Their two products that are used most are the C920 and the Brio. So let's go ahead and do the unboxing and get a feel for what this comes with. So as you see here, it comes in a brown box. Ooh, so nice. It's very nicely molded into its little case here. Doesn't pop out easily. Very well isolated for shipping. Here we have the camera with its mount attached. Very dusty out of the box. Next, inside this cardboard flap, we have all the accessories. Comes with a warranty card. A very, very brief description of how to install this. Carrying case in case you want to go to any of the webcam trade swaps where you can battle each other for your webcams. This is the privacy filter. It just goes on snugly. I will say out of the box, it does have some sticky residue on it. And it comes with an included USB 3 to USB-C cable. All right, so the specs are as follows. The Brio is capable of 4K, and it goes up to 4096 by 2160 at 30 frames per second. Next down, we get full HD 1080p at 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second. We also have the option of 720p HD at 30, 60, and even 90 frames per second. On the back of the camera, it is a USB-C, and then it is a USB 3.0 to the PC. USB 3 is required for 4K, everything else can be USB 2.0. The field of view is 90 degrees diagonal, 82.1 horizontal, and 52.2 vertical. This does have the ability of digital 5x zoom. It can also pan and tilt. It also comes with autofocus. It also uses Logitech's Right Light 3 dynamic imaging. It has an infrared sensor for application integration, so if you're using the SDK for Windows, you can actually integrate this into your app. It has dual omnidirectional mics with noise cancellation. It is 1 inch high by 4 inches wide by 1 inch deep, and it weighs 2.0 ounces. So when I first started streaming, I did what most of us did. We go to Amazon, we go and just get the cheapest webcam that we can find. It was like 38 bucks on Amazon. And I was pretty happy with what I accomplished until I started really actually analyzing other people's streams. And not only did I realize that I was behind the ball, that ball is careening down a hill at breakneck pace without me being able to catch it. So after that, I stepped up to a NexiGO webcam, which is pretty decent webcam at 1080p 60 frames per second. I still wanted that more DSLR look without having to pay an arm and a leg for it. So I very reluctantly reached into my pockets to shell out the cash for the Logitech Brio. And man, am I glad that I did that. So first off, we start here with the Logitech Brio. I'm going to be looking down here because it's down on the screen. I'm just going to kind of point out things that I'm seeing and relay them to you. Don't worry, I'm not ignoring you. As you can see here, we have the lights off in the room. I have my little accent lights going in the back, and my key light, fill light, backlight, all the lights. And we can see here that it's got pretty good color correction. Now I have turned off the auto white balance. I've turned off autofocus. I am custom setting the exposure rate on this camera. So I've kind of tailored it to the way that I want to, and I've done the best that I can do with its competitor and getting it set up as well to be kind of like this. And this is what you get with a $38 webcam. So as you can see, the colors are not the same. The lighting is weird. You're actually getting this kind of this Beastie Boys fisheye effect going on here with this little part of the wall that's over here. The field of view is wider with the cheaper webcam, but with the Logitech Brio, you get a much more quality looking image, especially without having any of the distortion. You don't see any distortion over here, not like you do with this other webcam where you see that distortion, and the colors are just up, and the saturation of the light is not the same. So that tells me that the sensor that the camera is on is definitely not the same quality that is on the Brio, because with the sensor you're getting overexposed with the exact same amount of light, and on the Brio it's just perfect. That's exactly the amount of level of exposure that we want to have, so that way we don't look like we're milky and murky like this. It's no bueno. This is money. So I'll give you a couple of tips that I learned with the Brio. The first thing is light. You're gonna need a lot of light on you to get this to work properly. There's a blinding amount of light in front of me right now. It's just something you're gonna have to get used to. If you're sensitive to this, streaming might not be your bag. The second thing I wanna note is, because these lights are so bright, sometimes you get light bleed. You'll get some light bleeding into the shot and the image from the light that's right behind the camera. So this Brio comes with a privacy filter. I actually use this privacy filter, and there's a shot of it here. I actually use this privacy filter as kind of a shutter, like you would have on a production key light on a shutter, and that actually is able to block a lot of the light coming down from it. So let it be known now that the Brio is not cheap, especially during this quarantine price hike. But you are getting a very high quality camera that shoots in 1080p 60 frames per second, which is the target for people in the mid-range streaming category. But this camera also gives you the ability to be in 4K, albeit in 30 frames per second, but still, you're in the door. And this is especially useful if you're gonna start doing things that are a little bit more cinematic. Now, stepping up from the Brio is a considerable jump in quality, but it is also a considerable jump in price. So your options to get into the door to get an image quality kind of like this is going to be get a Brio. And then after that, you have get a GoPro. Most GoPros are still far more expensive than a Logitech, unless you find one used, but then you have to figure out all the trickery of integrating this with your PC, because GoPros, they don't really like streaming live. And then your next option after that would be, of course, doing a DSLR setup. Now, a DSLR setup means you're gonna have to get a DSLR camera. Probably gonna pay $400 to $500 new. You can probably find one new, find one used. Then you got to find a camera mount that goes to your monitor or whatever you want to mount it to. Then you have to get a capture card, or you have to get a cam link. So once you start factoring all these things in, your cost is easily going to be upwards $500, $600, $700. So after hearing that, is the Brio better than a DSLR? No. Is the Brio as good as a DSLR? I would also say no to that. If you really look at the quality of these streams, especially the streamers that you know are using DSLR cameras versus the streamers that you know are using 1080p cameras, if you really look at the minute differences between the quality, it is glaringly night and day what the difference between the two are. But here's what the Brio does give you. It gives you better quality than this. It's also going to enable you to make your coworkers insanely jealous when you're at the meeting like this. It's also going to enable you to give a much higher quality stream to your viewers. Your viewers are going to see that you're taking this very seriously and you want to provide good content for them. And that alone, to me, is really worth the price of this. So if your budget allows you, I highly recommend getting a Brio. It is a very good webcam, very capable webcam. It is reliable, and it's going to do a very good job for you as long as you know how to do the settings, which there's plenty of YouTube content out there to set webcams up. I'm probably going to do one myself here in the future. But if your budget doesn't allow this, the webcam that I did a review on earlier, it's a very viable option, and I encourage you to go check that one out as well. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon, so that way you get notified whenever I have new content coming down the pipe. And until I see you guys next time, game on.